Justice Not Just Legal Part 15 in audio. We found Annie out in the wilderness foraging for herself. She is about 13 or 14, I took her under my wing. She has Indian blood, she very slightly favors the Indian and she is a cute little thing. She would work for Jack some, it would be good to know how she is doing. She has a key to our cabin and I hope she has been using it. I would like for you to go to our little cabin in the Rockies and check it out. You can stay there as long as you like. Jack Hill has a key. He has a big resort cabin southeast of Shawnee. It is better than 10 miles from the nearest road. Our little cabin is about 2 miles as the crow flies from Jack's resort. It is to the southeast of Jack's resort. Jeb Hill, his brother, has a little cabin just a couple of miles southeast of Shawnee, and Jeb brings supplies into his brother Jack once a month. Out of Denver. You might find Dee at Jack's place or even at our little cabin since she also has a key to it. Bobby, when we leave here my gang and I are headed for Shawnee. We will do as you ask. I appreciate the permission to stay in your little cabin. We will tidy it up a bit and do any repairs that it may need, and TJ will let you know how things are. There are some facts you need to know about Marty Masters. He is the officer I hit. I didn't beat him as they say I did. I only hit him once, but it was one brutal blow. It was hard enough to break his jaw. I thought I broke my hand, but it was just badly bruised. I truly regret hitting Marty, but when he shot little Cynthia's dog, I went berserk. I was in a rage. Seconds after I hit him I knew Marty thought she was a wolf. Marty thought he was protecting all of us. When he learned that it was little Cynthia's dog, he cried as if it had been his own child that had died. He was so sorry. He came close to having a nervous breakdown. To think he would have to take Cynthia's father away from her pushed him over the edge. Marty really fell apart. He was going to leave without taking me in. He refused to take me in as was his orders from the top brass. I persuaded him to take me in, and we would work something out later. I let him know that it was not his fault or his problem. He was just following his orders. I told him I would make it right with him when I got out of prison. I was truly sorry for hitting him. They put a damper on the truth. Marty would not witness against me. They wanted him to lie and falsify the whole thing. He told them if it had been any of them in the place of me, they would have killed him. That didn't set well with the upper brass. He resigned. He didn't let them have a chance to fire him, and he went back to college. He said he had enough of law enforcement. He has visited with me several times here in prison. He is really a great guy. He will do anything you need him to do to get me out of here. Renee Fairview, she was the social worker with Marty. They had orders to take little Cynthia into custody. Renee was worse off than Marty and she really fell apart. She went hysterical. It was as if she was my own daughter. It took me a while to comfort her and bring her back into reality. She was just like my little child in my arms. In the end she hugged me with passion that only Amy had for me. She is not more than 19 or 20 years old. She was very new to her profession. She had no choice. She had her orders. With Marty taking me, she had no choice but to take little Cynthia. She could not leave her there alone. Renee has visited with me a few times. She is not with the child protection any longer. She said she could not deal with the system. She visited with little Cynthia several times. Then little Cynthia disappeared, but she thinks little Cynthia is still alive. She has not given up hopes. Little Cynthia fared better than Renee and Marty. She loved Pretty Dog as she loves her daddy, but she says that Pretty Dog is a spirit as she is, and spirits cannot be killed. She said that Pretty Dog's spirit will be back with her again someday. The officers came back for Bobby and Charlotte speaks with a moving manner. I would be grateful if you would let me hug Bobby before you handcuff him again. One of the officers speaks. We have no authority to keep you from doing that as long as it is okay with his lawyer. He has $1 million on Bobby's head. His lawyer owns him. That is until he is safe in prison again. Charlotte looks up at the officer and she speaks with firmness. The $1 million has little meaning. It is the same for your handcuffs. It is also for you two officers. Bobby will walk back into that prison and he will submit himself regardless of any of that. Charlotte feels herself being lifted off her feet. Bobby had picked her up like a little child, he hugs her with great emotion, it is penetrating love, and Bobby begins to cry, her arms are tight around his neck, and she has a cloudburst of tears, it is a lengthy embrace, you have the same sweet spirit as my little Cynthia does. Charlotte feels her feet solid on the floor again and Bobby turns to TJ and he gives him a hug. You are not just my lawyer, you are my loyal friend. If you don't mind, I will consider you my brother. It is with respect, TJ speaks softly. It's an honor, Bobby. Charlotte glances up at the two officers and she sees tears in their eyes. The one that has been doing all the speaking speaks again. I believe this little girl is correct. When you are ready, Bobby, we three will walk back into that prison as three close friends. We will forget the handcuffs. That is if it is okay with you, TJ Russell. With a big smile, TJ speak. I don't know that much about Bobby, but I will stake my life on this little brat. I have not found her wrong yet, and I have a very good feeling about Bobby. I do believe he is a man of his word. In fact, I see him as my very dear brother. It is not long after Bobby leaves. Charlotte's gang is back in the vehicle ready to head for Shawnee. It is the last thing that TJ remembers. Charlotte turns to him with a request. TJ, I would like to give you a hug before I leave. TJ knew no words that could describe the wonderful feeling those words give him, or the comfort and wonderful feeling that invades his senses when he takes Charlotte in his arms, as if she was his own little child. He had had the urge to do it many times in the past but thought it improper. On his part it was like cuddling a little 6-year-old girl, yet her love was as his dear mother's love. Charlotte's love was as a mother's love. Of course, she didn't need to hug him for him to feel her love. He had lost his mother at 12 years old. He was very close to his mother, and even at 12 years old it felt good to be in his mother's arms, and he didn't care who was present. There was no shame or embarrassment. That departure lingers in TJ's thoughts for a lengthy time. It is the next day and Charlotte's gang pulls into the area southeast of Shawnee. 2 by 2 they search, it is for any clue that may lead to Kyle and little Cynthia's existence. Mello and Misty went back home with TJ. They were needed back home. They all wanted Charlotte to relax and take a vacation in the Rockies. Bill and Charlotte go into a little store. Business is slack. There is just one other customer. It is a girl. She is dressed like a boy. Charlotte and Bill had noticed her pack and gear lying just inside the front door. Behind the girl's rugged boyish front there is a sweet girlishness. She has a little Indian blood. It's not much, it is just enough to bring out her beauty. She has black hair. It is partially tucked up under her straw hat, but some clustered strands have escaped the hat. Bill is watching the girl and anyone could see he is fascinated by the girl. She is pulling off a great act. She takes in the whole scene, though she seems to be lost in her own affairs. Charlotte meekly introduces herself and Bill to the owner. The owner, Sue Brighton, is friendly, but she seems evasive and leery of their inquiry. Let me clue you in, kids, folks around here don't take to nosy people. For the most part we are law-abiding folks, but we don't have to like their crooked laws. We are on your side, Sue. We realize legal is not justice unless it is just. There is a family that we need to help and we need to locate them. I am sorry I cannot help you, you just cannot trust anyone anymore. I will warn you, strange things have been going on around here since that little girl got eaten by those big cats. These Rockies have been haunted. The cop shot her wolf dog and now there are 3 wolves keeping her ghost company. The little thing didn't make it over to the other side. She has a score to settle with the law. Everyone around here knows where their little kids are. They keep them by their side. They fear the loss of their child, as happened with that little girl. The law is not very welcome around here or our Snoopy people. Charlotte is a little irked by Sue's coldness and superstition. She still speaks with kindness. Our sympathy is with all of you. We are on the same side. I don't blame you for being shut-mouthed. Perhaps we would be the same way. Sue's stance puzzles Charlotte a little. How can Sue think that a couple of kids would do harm to anyone? It seems that Sue is scared of her own shadow. She must have had something bad to happen to her in the past. The Rockies are haunted and the little girl's ghost. What a far-fetched story. Sue turns to the girl. Can I help you with something, Dee? No, not today. I decided against getting anything. Dee then hurries to her gear and she snatches it up and is out the door as if she was afraid and she had to get away. She goes up the street about 50 feet and stands waiting. Bill and Charlotte soon walk out of the store and they go the opposite direction the girl had gone. The girl follows them. She is moving very fast, gaining on them, and she is soon walking at Bill's side. I think I can help you kids and I have a real good feeling about you kids. Bill stops. He turns to the girl. I have a real good feeling about you too. You will not regret your friendship with us. We mean harm to no one. I am Bill Russell and this is my best friend Sasha Charlotte Chapman. We all call her Charlotte. Just a little above a whisper she says, I am Annie D. Fairchild. I am known around here as just D. I ran away from home over a year ago. I have been hoping to find someone around here for a whole year. This place is a shut-mouth place to live in, which is why I like it. I am afraid to be seen in public much. I spend most of my time deep in the high country. Charlotte has known who the girl is, but Charlotte chooses not to make it known. She is the girl Bobby had asked her to befriend. Charlotte speaks up. Don't worry, you will be safe with us. We all will become the best of friends. At that, Dee displays a very peaceful and happy look. She truly felt Charlotte's love and kindness. It was some over a year ago I met this girl about my age. It was in a little restaurant. She was with her father. Her name was Amanda Platt. She said her brother Chad would be roaming the Rockies that summer, but I never run across him yet. Bill, I thought maybe you were her brother. You are like Amanda described her brother. Charlotte sees Dee as a source of knowledge they need. What was her father's name, or did you know? Oh yes, he was a kind man. I wish my father had been like him. He bought dinner for me. His daughter really liked me and she was very beautiful. She had that fancy dress on and all that jewelry, but she was still just as common as I was. The way she would call her father daddy was the cutest thing. Her father even thought it was sweet. He would smile like he thought it was so nice. She really loved her father and he loved her. She had manners. She was like a royal princess and her father even called her princess. He didn't call her Amanda. Bill speaks up and says, but you haven't told us his name. Dee blushes. I am so sorry, I got lost in my dream world. His name is Alan Platt. Bill and Charlotte turn. They stare at each other with raised eyebrows. Bill turns to Dee. Was there a lady by the name of Molly with them? No, it was just Amanda and her father. Her mother wasn't there and I don't know her mother's name. I enjoy the Rockies a lot, but it is sort of lonesome. I only have one friend left. It is Jack Hill. He is good to me. He lets me work for him some when there is no one there that would turn me into the law. Would you mind if I hung out with you kids, or maybe you two are like boy and girl friends or are like living together? Lot of kids do. If so, I will understand. I don't agree with that kind of behavior. I would never do that, but I don't criticize others. You are a handsome couple. I don't see kids like you around these parts. If you would rather not have me around, I will understand. Bill and Charlotte are stunned. Dee is an honest girl. She is direct but kind. She makes Charlotte think of herself. Charlotte looks into Dee's sweet face and she pours her love out to Dee. Dee feels it penetrate into her depth. We are grateful for your friendship, Dee. Welcome to our gang. Bill and I, we are just very close friend. We both think as you do. Bill and I love each other very much, but love has nothing to do with sex. That is for marriage. Bill and I are only two of our gang. Two others and our dog Sneaky are here in Shawnee. The three walk southeast. It is where they left the vehicle. Bill speaks casually to Charlotte. I think Amanda or Princess was a boy. Bill is walking between the two girls. They stop and look at each other. Bill then stops and looks back at the two girls. Dee speaks boldly. That cannot be. She was an elegant lady. She just couldn't have been a boy. Charlotte looks at Bill with doubt. You really think so, Bill? I suppose it could be, you may be right. Amanda was Kyle or Chad, his alias name. That is how he got up here from California without being caught. Molly and Alan know where he is. Dee's senses is shaken. Do you mean Kyle Kip Kingsley? He got away just a few weeks after I run away from home. Wouldn't that be neat if that were really him? He played his part well. He was a gorgeous princess. He even acted like one. No one would ever question his identity. Something about Princess made me want to hug her. It was as if she really cared about me, and I am certainly not a lesbian. Charlotte, Bill, and Dee meet Nikki and Jim at the vehicle, and of course, Sneaky. Sneaky loves Dee and Dee loved her. Dee spends her time with Sneaky while the others discuss their plans.